Today's guest is Martin Cochingco. He's a stunt performer, and I should say Emmy Award-winning stunt performer on the global sensation that was Shogun. He's been on another global sensation, The Last of Us. Let's start with winning an Emmy. Did your life change completely when you won that award?
It's definitely brought more attention to the industry that I work in, and it's definitely brought more attention to the communities that it came from, which is kind of cool. I'm going to be real with you. Like, we finished Shogun in 2022, and we waited 2 years for it to come out. I was excited for the show, and then the Emmy was kind of a surprise. There's a little bit of a, how do you say this, like, imposter syndrome with it, just because it's been so far removed from when we actually shot it to when the Emmy was won. I'm deeply appreciative of my stunt coordinators, Lauro Chartrand and Charlene Royer. Huge, big supporters, good friends. Yeah, my life hasn't really changed in that sense, other than more attention to it.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, the reason I asked you was because we met at the Fascination Film Festival in Calgary and then Edmonton. And that's kind of what I expected from your answer, because I think generally I think if you're in it for the awards, you're not going to survive. Like, you have to love the craft. You have to love what you do every day. Like, I appreciate your honesty. So what's the wildest stunt you've ever done?
The wildest. That's a great question. I'm gonna reframe that to like my favorite. It was on Airbender season one. It was during the first episode at the Massacre of the Air Temple. I did a stair fall off the top of like a 14 staircase ledge, and I did what's called a Hong Kong twist, where you just twist in the air and land. Normally you land on the ground after you twisting in the air, but I landed from like, I think I launched off like the 14th step down to like the fifth or third step down, and it felt really good. The reason why it felt good is because the stunt coordinator at the time, Dean Cho, he looked at me and he said, "Martin, I need this fall," and he walked away. It felt good because he didn't ask if I could do it, if I was ready or anything. He just trusted in the fact that I could do it, and that made me feel that was very validating to where I was in my career at the time, and it felt really good, and I appreciate him a lot for that.
Stairfall. Funny that it's like, that's the jargon.
Yeah.
You fell downstairs? Is that the idea?
Yeah, basically, I jumped off the 14th step, did two twists in the air, landed on my back, and rolled down some stairs.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny. We have so much jargon in this industry. What are some of the other, I guess, jargon for some stunts, like popular stunts that?
Oh yeah, that's a great question. I guess we'll go with like some of the falls. You'll have a taco. A taco would be when you land on your back and your body folds over so that your legs kind of fold over your head. So you look
Okay.
it's like this way. Then you have a scorpion, which I know some people have seen in like gymnastics by accident, but it's when you land on your face and your legs touch the ground from over your back, kind of like a
Yeah, that's brutal. That's like
yeah.
really John Wick stuff, right? Like that someone just gets annihilated.
Yeah, I love those ones. Those ones are so consistent for me. Let's like
Scorpion makes
yes,
sense.
yeah. There's back three quarters where you're basically doing a backflip, but you're landing on your stomach. You're not going all the way, you're going three quarters of the way. So, and then there's a front three quarter, which is the opposite. You're doing a front flip landing on your back because you're going, three quarters of the way. The Hong Kong twist, for instance, it was very popularized in Hong Kong. It's literally two twists after you get hit by the head, or you just spin around. Super popular, yeah, in Hong Kong movies. I think Power Rangers did a lot of those.
That's a good reference. Okay, because I was trying to picture it in my head, but when you say Power Rangers, I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
when they spin like this, all that stuff. And then there's like very specific things to wires. So when you're like, your harnesses, your wires, hitting your marks, hitting your beats, I think that's pretty consistent for most actors and stuff. Some of the other things are martial arts specific. If someone says, "Give me an angle one, angle two," that comes from Filipino martial arts, where you're attacking angle one or angle two, depending on the training that most stunt people have. Say if you're doing like a jab, cross, hook, that usually means boxing. If you're a southpaw orthodox, depending on the stance. So a lot of those ones are pretty martial arts. But the interesting thing about stunts is that it pulls from so many different places that everybody has a general amount of knowledge. So to the outside person, it's like, what are you guys talking about? Just numbers, like beats? Are you guys dancing? Kind of thing. There's some more I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but the falls are pretty stunt specific, I would say.
Shogun is obviously so period specific and geography specific. Was there anything in that that stands out as a surprise or a new stunt that you had to learn, or sword work?
Sword work, yeah. I think for me, I lived in Japan for a little bit too, and my biggest pleasant surprise was that they actually had a separate catering for the Japanese crew versus the American or versus the Canadian crew. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it was nice. Once we all kind of found out about the Japanese catering, we all kind of went, kind of shuffled over. But yeah, it was cool. They had historical advisors to make us run properly, and like old Japanese is quite different from new Japanese, so the characteristics and mannerisms, all that stuff. That was fun to watch. That was fun to experience as well. So yeah, previously I worked at Age of Samurai out in Toronto. I did a bunch of old like recreations and samurai stuff in Japan. Yeah, it was fun. It was great. It was good to see the Canadian crew and our talents and our expertise really work together with the Japanese crew. We have some of the best, if not the best crews in the world. So seeing that and getting recognized for that is huge.
What was different about how Japanese people ran? What was it, 600 years ago? Like, what was different about the walk cycle?
So there's a lot of mannerisms when it comes to the like even just opening a door and where you bow and where you look. In terms of running like a samurai, we couldn't have our heads bobble. So a lot of times when people run, their heads are bobbling. So you had to keep your head basically on a swivel, lean forward, and I will say it was pretty efficient now that I'm thinking about it. But just imagining how they ran like that for just miles and miles, I can't even imagine it.
Let's talk a little bit more about hand to hand combat,
Mm.
especially because that's a lot of the stuff that you have on your Instagram. What is different about fighting on camera than fighting in real life?
Great question. You have to keep your partner safe. So rather than actually attacking a partner, you have to keep them safe. Like I fought for a number of years as well, and the biggest difference too is telegraphing. So when you're fighting someone and when you're in the ring, you don't want to telegraph your moves because then your opponent knows what's going on. With film fighting, it's more of a dance than it is a fight. There's choreographed beats, choreographed, all this stuff. You have to telegraph so your partner knows. Make sure that they're looking at you. Make sure the communication is right there so that they know exactly what's coming next and you know what's coming next so you guys can keep each other safe. It's even more important as well when the actors are doing the same thing. Sometimes actors don't have that kind of training. So you have to make sure that you're keeping them safe while making them look good as well. Most punches, they will never connect, especially when it comes to the head. Very seldomly does it connect to the bodies. And even when you do it to the bodies, it's more of a, rather than like a punch going in, it's a retraction coming out to make it look like it's sold more. And that's when the facial reactions, the body reactions, all those hits become more important. That's the biggest difference. Rather than trying to hurt someone, you're doing your best to keep them safe.
Right. In Canada, I think as much as we make the stuff, a big part of our daily lives is also supporting the industry. As it relates to you, I know that you're also really active in the stunt community, in the Albertan film and television community. What is the Stunt Garage?
Glad you asked. So the Stunt Garage is actually started by four friends of ours. So the four friends in question would be myself, Darren Taw, Aaron Delaney, and Jonathan Nickerson. We all came from different walks of life. We actually made friends with each other just by going to open gyms at gymnastics facilities, just by training. Initially we started with a sport called tricking, which is just martial arts and acrobatics kind of rolled into one. Shout out to my friends in Montreal. They're called the air handlers. I did that for many, 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 many years. And kind of I did want to transition into stunts eventually. And we had a gym that I helped run out here called Fly Free. And during that time, we kind of honed our skills to be able to start filming, work on social media skits. It went semi-viral on social media in like 2018, 2019. And we were going to use that as a transition for our skills to go into film. Basically, where I'm going with this is that over COVID, we lost our gym. We lost our training spaces. So what we did is we wanted to open up a training space that we could effectively like teach out of so that, we could keep going and keep training so that when film came back, we hit the ground running. One thing led to another, and we opened up the Stunt Garage because we weren't just teaching parkour, we weren't just teaching tricking, we weren't just teaching martial arts. It was kind of an amalgamation of everything. So the Stunt Garage was born out of that because we needed to establish a business so that we could teach. And next thing you know, it's just a bunch of us just training. And then all of a sudden, all these other people started getting involved and they're training with us. And then next thing you know, we're getting called for The Last of Us, we're getting called for Airbender, so on and so forth. And now it's just become this big community of people that we wanted to help break into the industry through stunts or through film, to be able to do transferable skills like accounting, carpentry, costumes, makeup, hair, all that stuff, and use that as a way to get film back into Alberta, get film back into Edmonton. And if that's not the case, then we can have these people go out and do their own thing. I'm at the age now where a lot of my friends are like, I want to do something else with my life. I want to do this. I want to feel more fulfilled. Being one of the catalysts and one of the facilities to help facilitate that feels really good. We're able to help people transition, help people go into other things, whether it's a part-time job, whether it's a full-time job. It's great to see you get what you put in kind of deal. So yeah, that's what the Stunt Garage is. At this very moment, we're just a training facility that is a bunch of friends that train together and teach classes to kids and adults that want to eventually break into industry or just make their own stuff.
I love that. I think it's such a great example of the value of these artistic crafts, not just for revenue generation, not just for professional careers, but like martial arts or like acting classes. They're just enjoyable things to do as people other than like sit at a cubicle from 9 to 5.
Like, if I'm being honest with you, like we don't make a lot of money, and I made sure of that by design, just because I know money changes a lot of people. So really, that's why we're a training facility. We have enough money to keep us running, but that's about it. We're in this for the love of the game versus actual yeah, money.
Yeah, I meant it more for the participants, right? Like it's beautiful that you're building this community because I was having lunch with your business partner Darren.
Yeah.
And I was chatting with the waiter, and the waiter said he was an actor. And I was like, oh, you got to meet Darren. And he's like, oh, I know Darren. I go to the Stunt Garage. Like I have practiced stunts at the Stunt Garage. And I was like, that's community. I think that's really cool.
That's cool to
Yeah.
hear.
I just wanted to say then that I'm so glad I got to meet you at Fascination. For anyone watching, I'm going to post this before Fascination Winnipeg, which is happening this weekend. So if you're in Winnipeg, check that out. Yeah, Martin, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, thank you for having me on. This has been great. I'm sorry we didn't have more time. I'd love to talk again at one point, but yeah, this has been good.
No, this was the goal. These should be like things people can watch on a commute. So we'll see what comes back in the feedback in the comments, and we'll get the questions from the audience. And it would be great to have you back and answer some questions.
Perfect. Well, yeah, thank you again. Go Oilers.